I figured I'd try this out. Granted, now you're blocking my fucking steering wheel is blocking me. Nah, I just this isn't to vent or anything, but I came to this realization. And part of it is related to God and everything. I just, you know, not everybody knows the situation technically, but I am upstate, and you know, I do split my time between the city and the Hudson Valley. It's just that, you know, we have men's groups, we have some outlets for men. And the thing is that I've kind of outgrown that. So what I really need to do is I want to turn this page into somewhat of a personal branding, but everything I do is to try to be as quirky as I can, but still show professionalism. And, you know, working, because I'm at IBM. Working at IBM, I realize, you know, they want you to wear a mask. They want you to be professional, but then when the meeting is done, they'll ask you what your day is like. Like a corporate, a member of an SVP, whatever it is, senior vice president, whatever you call it, will come in with a cast. And they'll say, oh, what happened to you? Oh, I was skiing and I broke my leg. Let's talk about AI. And, you know, I worked in creative fields all the time, and I noticed that even creative people have this mask. And I get it. Maybe you don't want to associate your personal self with your art. But are we really all that stupid? Are we all that stupid that we can't separate the two? Is it really such a bad thing? I didn't start Instagram for personal reasons. When I graduated, I made an Instagram and I made a Twitter. I still call it Twitter. Because I wanted to showcase work. I wanted to showcase my portfolio. I wanted to showcase the grind. And I've done a lot of things. I've actually had people come up to me and tell me, like, hey, you've done a lot of things. But I just never felt ahead in life. And the thing about that is I didn't feel ahead in life because I didn't have the right people around me. My in-laws or ex-in-laws, whatever it is, even my parents, some friends that I thought I had, even my ex and the people she was with. And it's just, I have this like weird Nostradamus thing. Because no matter how much I predict it and I try to warn people and I say these things to people, they just don't listen. And I feel like the problem with that is people tell me, oh, Anil, David, you don't have authority. We shouldn't be listening to people with authority, technically. We should be listening to people who have the knowledge and who are wise. But the funny thing is that a wise person doesn't go around and say, hey, I'm a wise person. They don't express that. So I'm not here saying that, oh, I'm a wise person. And it is somewhat contradictory for me to sit here and say, oh, I'm going to tell you what you should do to be a better man or a better woman or a better person or a better father, mother, sister, brother, whatever, right? I shouldn't be somebody to tell you that. But we're just caught up in everything. I decided to go back to freelancing because I had a calling. You know, I used to drive past this huge lot of just farmland, and there's a sign that says for sale, 150 acres will divide. And I go to Poughkeepsie and I meet artists in Kingston. There's all these media studios opening up for rentals, for staffing. And I just look at it, you know, and I think this city is so overrated. Like, there's a river behind my house right now. And it's not necessarily my house. My mom is in the basement. The mortgage is in her name. But her mortgage is cheaper than rent in the city. And so I just sit here and I think, wow, I'm actually thinking about the next 10 years. But it just feels like nobody else is thinking about that. Think about with the MTA, the subway, all the changes they were making, all the construction they were doing. Nobody ever sits down when things are going well and says, hey, what can I do to improve? A project manager will do that. That's called the lessons learned. So a project manager will say, hey, what did we do right? Let's keep that going. But nobody really approaches life from that perspective. And I'm not saying that God is going to sort it out. I mean, God will sort it out. You just don't know when. Or the universe, or whatever you want to call it, if you want to be non-denominational. But, you know, it's just, like, I just want to express that playing the devil's advocate is not a bad thing. And it's actually what leads to empathy. Like, my neighbor is a white Puerto Rican who's a Trumper. But we don't bring that up. When it snows, he cleans my yard, I clean his yard. He helped me out with a car, with fixing a car. His daughter works at the Dunkin' Donuts, so like I go to the Dunkin' Donuts and I see her sometimes because she's the cashier. Like, the guy across the street from me, you know, he's good with his hands, but he doesn't have stable work all the time. And all I gotta do is give him a pizza if I need him to teach me something. Like, I sold a car to a guy in this village. And he told me, he said, because I couldn't get it to pass inspection, and he told me, he said, if you need, because he saw my new car, and he said, if you need me to check this new car, I'll check it. And I just thought, this is what life was like. I grew up in the 90s. This is what life was like. There's a funny thing about Caribbean people where they all know each other from, like, Guyana. Like, if you go to Liberty Avenue, it's like they all knew each other in Guyana. But they come to America and they try to, like, make a new life. But you see it, because there's a psychological thing that happens. When you know somebody from a certain period of your life, you revert back to that period. In your mind, you go back to that time period. That's why high school reunions are a sham. right? You could have been a nerd in high school and they could have been a jock, and then the roles reverse later on in life, and when you go to the reunion, you're the nerd you're the jock that used to be a nerd, you go back to being a nerd. You're a nerd that became a jock, you go back to being the opposite, right? You could have been that slutty woman in high school and then you found God and changed your ways, but when you go back to the reunion, you're back as that slutty woman. Like, it's a psychological thing, right? So a lot of people, they talk about, you got to keep certain relationships. You got to have boundaries. Whether it's a friend, an ex, even your parents, your kids, you got to have boundaries. And what I'm personally tired of is guys finally trying to establish boundaries and saying what it is that is wrong with them and that they need help with, and people still don't care. Right? And the frickin' election is an example of it. Everyone's wondering, why are all the men voting for Trump? Well, if you give us Trump versus Kamala, and I voted for Kamala, technically, because I know Trump is crazy. Trump is crazy, he's stupid, he doesn't necessarily know what he's doing, but he's that guy that, like, it doesn't matter. He's that guy where he says, I'm gonna do it, and if it messes up, it messes up. And everyone else is stupid enough to say, oh yeah, let's go Trump. You don't understand. You have the right to say no to him. Even if you vote for him, you have the right to say no. Everybody keeps thinking that somebody is going to save us, whether it was Trump or Kamala. So, I mean, I voted for Kamala just because I'd rather Bernie had ran, or if Andrew Yang had ran, I would have voted for Andrew Yang. But it's just one of those things, right? And we're all sitting here and nobody seems to understand. I know for men, I had this argument with somebody, but men vent differently than women. When men vent, we do it as an exposition. Exposition is telling the story. It's telling the narrative. We're not trauma dumping when we vent. Even when I do this now, I'm not venting. I'm literally just saying, hey, this is what's going on. And I've had this argument with women because there's been some women that come to me and they say, why are you venting? Or why are you trauma dumping? And then somebody actually came up and said, you shouldn't be bonding over a negative experience. That's what men used to do. When men went to war, they're dying. They're getting amputated, limbs blowing up. They're getting mangled and mauled, or they're watching their whole platoon die, or their best friend, or, because maybe they lived in the same town and enlisted together, right? That's how men bond. And if you want to get scientific about it, now all the science is coming out, because yeah, men bond during hard times. Like, when I've asked for help, I ask for help logistically, not for empathy. If I say, hey, I need a job, can you help me? It's literally because that's what it is. It's like, hey, I need a job. You can either give me a job, or you could point me somewhere to get a job, whatever it is, right? You could give me some, like a temporary thing. Tell me, hey, go do DoorDash full time. It's like, oh, I didn't think about that, right? That's help. That's what we want. So I only say this because, my YouTube algorithm, my Instagram algorithm, it's crazy. I'll go from liking something from anime to liking something from a DJ making his own mixtape to liking something that is considered red pill and then something that's considered feminist. Like, it's all over the place. And so I sit here in my car as I'm getting ready to, take care of a few errands, which I need to do because I technically had to take the day off. Even though corporate won't let you, right? Because corporate wants you to come in and work every day. It's just one of those things that I just sit here and I realize, what do I want to do with my branding, with my personal page? And my personal page is a business page. And I realized I am the business, right? I still listen to Michael Jackson, and there's still people debating whether or not he did what he did. But that doesn't matter to me, because you have to internalize it differently. You have to take care of that yourself. Everybody's out here saying, oh, we need somebody to take care of it for us. And I get it. But a lot of the people that are saying, I need somebody to take care of it for us, we just need the right advice and the right direction to go. We don't actually want you to do it for us. At least I don't. So for me, I'm sitting here thinking, because I had somebody tell me last night, I was playing with AI and I made an image that said, fuck it. Right? And then I go on all these social media posts and they'll censor the words. It'll be F with the stars. And I'm just sitting here thinking, we know it says fuck. We know it says ass. Why are you putting a $? We know it says ass. We're being too polite. There was a Nike ad that got rejected because it showed a guy weighing himself and he didn't like it. So he gets off the scale. He pulls up a chair, and based on the angle of the camera, it looked like he was gonna hang himself. And I get why that ad wouldn't play. But if you let it play all the way to the end, it turns out he was actually grabbing the Olympic rings because he had the rings hanging from his ceiling. Right? You, as a viewer, did that to yourself. You, as a viewer, saw him push that chair away, implying that he was going to off himself. And you did not wait till the end to see that, no, it was a completely different thing. There was another ad about men's mental health, and it was these two guys going to a football game. And they would go either every day or every month, something like that. And one guy looks happy. He's smiling ear to ear, and he's trying to have conversation with the other guy, and the other guy is melancholy. He's not really reactive. He's just sort of there. And it was a men's mental health ad because towards the end, and the guy they filmed it in such a way and they acted in such a way that the melancholy guy looked like he was getting worse. So we're sitting here thinking, okay, what's going to happen to this sad looking guy? At the end of the ad, the sad-looking guy is the only guy left. Because he goes to sit in his usual seat, and he's waiting for his friend, and it turns out that friend never shows up, and that chair stays empty. That was the friend smiling ear to ear. That was the friend who was chippy. That was the friend who was perky. And he was the one that decided to check out. we need empathy, and we need to stop being divided. And we need to just, because sometimes I make comments and then people want to argue with me. We need to detach ourselves from it. Because I'll use the example with my Trumper neighbor. He wants a safe neighborhood, I want a safe neighborhood. He wants more money, I want more money. He wants better education, I want better education. The only thing that's different is how we plan on doing that. That's what this government is, and that's what this nation is. And if you don't like it, you can either leave America or you can build on your own. And I think that's the thing, that's the message that isn't coming across. Again, I have to be on social media for business. But when I was praying and meditating, I thought about it and I just thought, do I really, really want to separate a business page from a personal page? Because I'm not going to have a personal page. I don't want a personal page. I want my interactions on social media to be related to branding. Because think about all the people selling digital products, all the people that are doing affiliate marketing, right? Why are they doing it? Oh, because they want to preach remote work. They want to preach a separate income. They want to preach, oh, I need extra money for my family. Those are personal reasons. We need to understand, if you go to a job interview and you say, hey, I need money because I like to eat and I need a roof over my head, that should honestly be a very valid reason. Oh, why do you want to come and work here? Because I'm an able-bodied person that likes to eat and likes to have a roof over my head, and I will work to make sure you pay me so I can live. And we take that for granted. It's like the people who understand this are the people that are not in charge, which makes it worse. I was in a LinkedIn thread, and somebody said it. They posted it. They said, if we drop the concept of professionalism, we will find authenticity. Why is it Gary Vee can come out and curse in his videos? Right? I mean, he's done the work. So, you know, fair enough. He's put in his hours to be able to curse in his videos. But is that him not being authentic? Right? He's made it publicly known he wants to buy the New York Jets. And yet, here he is with VaynerMedia. Granted, he's separated himself from that, but that's my point. Why are we tiptoeing around this? This whole thing is stupid. We're all just being stupid. And then the people who choose not to interact are being discriminated against. And then the people who try to interact, but in the opposite way, are being discriminated against as well. And I just had this spiritual calling that said, you know what? I need to just do things my own way. And I get it, that's hard to do. That's hard to do when you have relationships, when you have people that depend on you or used to depend on you, when you have those ties. But I'm putting up my boundaries, and I'm trying to put my boundaries and enforce my boundaries, and that's where everybody gets messed up. I swear, I wish I was this old in the 90s. Because we didn't have these problems. We had different problems, but we didn't have these problems. Either way, I'm just saying this because, again, this is an event. But, you know, we need to be able to say these things without people really putting attention to it or trying to dig deeper. This is a very surface level thing. And if I can push the algorithm a little bit to encourage this, then why not? Because I saw a whole carousel of reels about this one guy explaining how black people have been oppressed, and they started assassinating people, and then the method changed. And I just thought, well, okay, kudos to him, and he made some very good points. Why can't I start doing that, right? If I want to make a poster that says fuck it because you think it would be good for your marketing, or I think it would be good for your marketing, then I'm gonna do that. So if I offer professional services, just know that there's going to be a F-bomb coming in there every now and then, Obviously, I'll clear things with you if you want to hire me for X, Y, and Z. But, if you ask me for my opinion, yeah, I'm going to get a little controversial, because why is it these larger companies can do it and we can't? I watched a whole video about how Pepsi was geared towards black people. Coca-Cola didn't want to associate with black people, so the president of Pepsi said, hey, we'll just take that market. Blatantly. And we already know Coca-Cola used to have cocaine in it. So, I mean, are we ignoring this? Like, what the fuck? That's all I'm saying. Like, it's a nice day, and as much as I want to be able to do X, Y, and Z, I have errands to do. But I want to move more into, like, long-term freelancing, or even just getting more consistent gigs where people, are willing to hire me, even if it's for some basic work. Because honestly, working at a McDonald's sounds good. If all I gotta do is do the fries, I might as well do that. Should I get paid more for that? A living wage? Technically, yeah. Even if it's just fries. But I had a manager that I was talking about this with, and he brought up a good point. It was mostly about gentrification. But if you have a house or a building, whatever, because we're talking about East New York and Brooklyn, and this has been passed down in your family for generations, and it's rent stabilized, your cost of maintaining that building goes up, and your income goes down, not only because of the rent stabilization, but because of inflation. And all the tenants, and they could be good tenants or bad tenants, but they go to these board meetings, these open community town halls, and they start complaining, and they start saying, you're raising the rents again, we can't do this, we can't keep up. Nobody's thinking about the mom and pop homeowner that just has that building, right? And then when the gentrification happens, it happens because corporations are buying these places. And why are corporations buying these places? Because as much as I, as a landowner and a homeowner, want to give back to my community, if I can't make money off of it and I lose money, I'm going to need to offset that somehow. That's what's going on with the tariffs. That's what happens with taxes and inflation. And until we figure out a government system where that changes, we're just going to keep getting screwed like this. So maybe there's something to the black pill where we just need to understand, fuck it. What am I trying for? I digress either way. I just wanted to say this because I was going to do a YouTube live about this, and I'm still trying to sort this out, like doing my video essays and everything. But I thought about it because my YouTube is technically professional, and I am mixing it with things like my streaming. But I just thought, hey, I don't really need to be an influencer, but you know, I listen to Philip DeFranco. He tries to report on the news, but he has his own bias. Right? Why is Kai Cenat having all these celebrities on? Because he is his own brand. You think I want to see him with Sexy Red and then all of a sudden he ends up with John Cena? Like, no, it's weird. But he's accepted for that. Why can't the smaller streamer, why can't the smaller creator be accepted for that? It's like we all have to pick these niches. We don't have to pick a niche. People have multiple facets to them. As conservative as I am, that I would fall in line with religious and somewhat Republican ideals, I still voted for Kamala. Right? We need to stop trying to put everybody in a box. So, either way, I hope y'all have a good day. I'm gonna try to get video essays out or something like that. I'm still testing for LinkedIn. And honestly, there's some stuff going on where, you know, my pastor usually says this: delay is not denial. So things are gonna work out. The anxiety comes from not knowing when it will work out. And at this rate, if it takes me 20 years, it'll take me 20 years. But I should have, and this is where I take accountability, I should have believed in myself more. And I should have been more selfish. Because I gave way too much. And if people think that that's a trauma, a childhood trauma, okay, fine, whatever. But now everybody's becoming a life coach, so what the fuck, right? If I meet one more person that's saying, oh, I'm going to be a life coach, like, honestly, stop trying to be a life coach. Stop trying to monetize the fucking thing, right? We don't have community because we're all trying to monetize the fucking advice. Lawyers did it first, and that's why they're terrible. Oh, you need to pay for a legal consultation. Some lawyers are like $200 to $500 just for like an hour of their time. I'm like, listen, I get it, but also that's stupid. Like, what are you doing? The dollar bill, y'all. Anyway, I'm probably gonna stream tonight. I'll be streaming Yu-Gi-Oh! The Falsebound Kingdom Kaizo.